The hype around ClawdBot is pretty wild, mainly because it's the first AI tool that actually behaves like a fully autonomous agent. For those who don't know, ClawdBot is an AI assistant that, unlike ChatGPT or other chatbots that just give you text responses, ClawdBot can control your computer, execute commands, browse the web, manage files, and even interact with other applications on your behalf. That means it can complete multi-step tasks without you having to prompt it every single time. It can read your emails, draft responses, organize files, run scripts, and handle workflows that would normally take you hours. The key difference is that it operates like a virtual assistant with actual computer access, not just a conversation partner. But here's the problem. Everyone thinks they need a brand new Mac Mini to run it, and that's completely unnecessary. The reason people are buying Mac Minis is because ClawdBot needs a dedicated environment to run safely. Since it has full access to everything on the machine it's installed on, your files, your passwords, and your applications, you don't want it running on your main work computer. If something goes wrong, or if the AI makes an unexpected decision, it could potentially access sensitive data or execute commands you didn't intend. So the common advice has been to buy a separate physical machine, like a Mac Mini, just to contain ClawdBot in its own isolated space. But that's an expensive and inefficient solution, especially when there's a much smarter alternative. I've actually found a much better solution where I run my private ClawdBot in the cloud, and after testing it for a week, I'm getting the exact same performance, but without the expensive hardware cost. So today, we're going to set up that exact same workflow, and by the end of this, you'll have a 24/7 agent running on isolated hardware for a fraction of the price. To get started, we need a dedicated place for ClawdBot to run, and since we don't want it slowing down our main computer, we're going to set it up on a separate cloud server. A cloud server is essentially a virtual computer that lives in a data center somewhere in the world. You rent it by the month, and it runs 24/7 without you having to worry about anything. It's like having a second computer, but you access it remotely through the internet. This is perfect for ClawdBot because it means your agent can keep working even when your laptop is closed or your phone is off. Now, typically, running a server means you're stuck writing code in a terminal, and if you mess up once, the whole thing breaks, and I wasn't willing to deal with that. So I searched for a better way, and the only platform I found that actually solves this is Hostinger. The reason they are different is that they let us skip the complex terminal commands entirely and install everything through a simple visual dashboard. By the way, I've left a link to Hostinger in the description below. If you want to follow along, I'd recommend opening it up right now so you can set this up while you watch. So once you're on Hostinger's VPS page, go ahead and pick a plan. I'd recommend the KVM2 plan if you want the best performance, but KVM1 is perfectly fine if you're just starting out. For the OS, select this one right here with LTS in the name. When I say LTS, I mean long-term support, which is exactly what you want for a stable, always-on agent. Pick a server location close to you, then continue the payment and finish the purchase. Then you'll see the optional add-ons. Make sure that the malware scanner is on, and make sure that the Docker manager is installed. Docker is basically a system that lets you install apps in isolated containers so you can run multiple things on the same server without them interfering with each other. Honestly, that isolation is why I use a VPS in the first place. You have to remember that ClawdBot has full autonomous access to the shell, meaning it can execute terminal commands without asking. That means that ClawdBot can run the same commands you would type into a terminal. It can create files, delete files, install software, modify system settings, and even interact with other programs. This is really powerful, but also risky. If ClawdBot gets a command wrong or gets tricked by a bad prompt, it could do some real damage on your PC. That's why we never run it on our main computer. By putting it on a VPS, we create a sandbox, basically a safe environment where the worst case scenario is that we just reset the server and start over. Your personal photos, passwords, and work files stay completely untouched. If something goes wrong and it touches a critical system file, you want that on a disposable server and not on your main computer. Once the Docker manager finishes installing, go back to overview. And just like that, your virtual computer is live. This gives us the foundation for an agent that runs nonstop, handling tasks for you, even when you're not at your desk. But right now, we just have an empty server with no brain. So we need to go ahead and install ClawdBot to bring this whole thing to life. We'll do this using Docker, specifically the manager we activated earlier. This is the feature that lets us avoid all the complex coding and get up and running with just a few clicks. So in your dashboard, find Docker Manager in the left sidebar, head over to the catalog, search for OpenClaw, and click Deploy. Right away, a configuration screen will pop up. The first thing you'll see is a gateway token that's automatically generated for you. This is the password to your entire system, so copy it and save it somewhere safe. Below that, you need to choose your AI provider. If you want to use Claude, grab your key from Anthropic and paste it in. If you prefer GPT-4, use your OpenAI key instead. You only need to fill in one of them, so just paste your key, leave the other one blank, and click Deploy. This will take a minute or two to install. Once the status shows as running, a port number will appear right next to it. Click on that port to open the ClawdBot web interface. In the overview section, paste in that gateway token you saved earlier, click connect, and you are in. ClawdBot is now up and running on your VPS, and you can talk to it right here in the dashboard. But honestly, using it like this is a massive waste of potential, because right now your agent is trapped inside this browser tab, meaning if you step away from your desk, you lose your entire connection to the server. At that point, it kind of takes away the whole point of an autonomous agent. So now we are going to take ClawdBot out of the browser and connect it straight to your phone. To do that, let's configure ClawdBot first by going to Settings, clicking on Config, and selecting the Raw tab. On the Hostinger page in the description, there's a small piece of code you'll need. Copy that and paste it in here. Inside the brackets, just type your own phone number. This tells the bot to only listen to you and completely ignore anyone else. This is a critical security step. Without this, anyone who gets access to your bot's contact info could potentially send it commands. By whitelisting only your phone number, you ensure that ClawdBot will only respond to you. Even if someone else tries to message it, the bot will ignore them completely. It's a simple but essential layer of protection that keeps your autonomous agent under your control and no one else's. If you added an OpenAI key earlier in the setup, paste this configuration here so ClawdBot knows which model to run. Once that's done, hit save. Now you can head over to Channels in the sidebar and connect it to either WhatsApp or Telegram by scanning this QR code right here. And having that level of granular control is exactly why we used a VPS in the first place. You end up with a fully isolated setup that you can manage from your phone without exposing any personal data on your main computer. You get all the power of an AI agent without any of the risk. Your personal computer stays clean and secure. Your agent runs 24/7 in the cloud, and you control everything from your phone no matter where you are. Plus, it costs a fraction of what you'd spend on a Mac Mini. So if you want to build this exact setup yourself, the link to Hostinger is right down in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.